Hey guys, welcome to another MapleStory 2 video, and today it's going to be the Runeblader guide and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Alright, anyways, let's get right into it. I'm not going to take as long as I did for the Assassin guide, hopefully. Actually, no, I will, because Runeblader has like 3 times the amount of skills that Assassin does. Let's get into that quite well. Alright, so let's get right into it. Start off with the usual basic stuff. We have Blink and Rune Balance. So let's start with Rune Balance. Yeah, can't speak. Let's start with Rune Balance because Rune Balance is a very simple ability. It essentially has the exact same property as Assassin's Shadow Chaser, in which it grants you 1 spirit every 0.1 seconds, which is 10 spirit per second. But unlike Shadow Chaser, where you have to like proc it on an enemy, Rune Balance always has it going. It's a passive skill. Additionally, since Runebladers scale off of both strength and intelligence, 70% of your strength turns into intelligence, which is why we have both strength and int. As for Blink, we have a very simple short-range dash that doesn't actually rely on your stamina costs. This is one of the only few dashes in the game that doesn't use stamina. Instead, it's just on a fixed cooldown right here. I think the other class that has a stamina cooldown is Thief. It's not that long. However, on the other hand, if you're dashing towards an enemy, does this count as an enemy? I hope it does. No, it doesn't. Okay. Or does it? Maybe it does. Let me try to see if I can... There we go. Okay, now it does. If you're dashing towards an enemy and you're within 6 meters or less of that target, you will lock onto that target and dash right to it. Which is good, I guess. I don't really like the fact that you are forced locking into you're like locking yourself into a specific target, but I suppose it's better than like not having any attributes at all. Try it again. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So your basic attack is Flurry. It just slashes your sword 3 times. Let me turn off the pet. Slashes your sword 3 times for relatively moderate damage. Actually, what I should do first is instead of covering each skill from like line to line, I should start off with these skills. Okay, so the way Runeblader works is that Runeblader is a magical swordsman. They like to imbue their weapons with various elements. So we have Flame Sigil, Frost Sigil, and Storm Sigil, all with the exact same property of a buff that lasts 4 minutes, and it imbues your weapon with a certain element. So this is Flame Sigil. Turns your left hand into a firearm, which is, I don't understand how it's not cinching the clothes off, but whatever, it's really cool. For Frost Sigil, it makes your arm freeze up. Okay, and this is Storm Sigil, which makes your arm go like all static electricity. So the way these work is that they actually alter the properties of your various abilities. Here we go. You notice that there's like a different kind of color that these guys are indicated with. Start off with Flame Sigil Flurry. So Flame Sigil Flurry does a little bit more damage. Let me check. Okay, does a little bit less damage. However, if you attack a target, it ignites and bursts into flame. So this is just the default ability look. Looks much cooler. Is there a way I can take this off? I guess not. Okay, but when you hit an enemy with it, they'll take extra echoing damage. So you see that they took, so the 5,000s and the 6,000s that you're seeing, that's just the regular damage, but the 2,000s are the burn damage that you're taking, see? So Flame Flurry is really strong DPS wise because it allows you to do a lot of like consecutive damage. Now as for Frost Sigil's Flurry, it shoots out an ice wave. It increases the range of your attacks. It also does a little bit more damage, but unlike Flame Sigil's Flurry, which does only within up to 3 meters in front of you, Frost Flurry goes a little bit further. And it also does more damage. So if I were to use Flame Sigil over here, Flame Flurry doesn't reach here. But if I were to use Frost Flurry, it does reach. Which is really cool. As for Storm Flurry, it just does more damage. That's basically it. It's like kind of the balance in between. It does a decent amount of damage. So Flame Flurry does, or Frost Flurry does less, or Flame Flurry does the lowest amount of base damage, and then Frost Flurry does a little bit more base damage, but with more range, and then Storm Flurry just does more damage outright. There you go. Now, in terms of Flurry, Flame Flurry does the most overall damage because it's 54% plus 42% for 96, but for consistency, a lot of people like to just go for Storm Flurry. Alright, next we have Echoing Blades. Echoing Blades, now, is there a way I can like remove this? I don't think I can. Okay, I want to show you the default animation, but I can't. So Echoing Blade, the way it works is that you slash in front of you, and then it causes you to leave a trail of phantom swords swiping, like, slashing in front of you behind, which is really cool. So let me show you what Echoing Blades look like. Echoing Flames, rather. This is Echoing Frost. There you go. And then Echoing Storm. really aesthetically pleasing. I love this ability a lot. So at base, it does a 99, or neutral, it does 99% damage 7 times to 8 enemies up to 3 meters in front of you. So it does 99% times 7, which is like almost about 700% damage. However, Echoing Flames does less damage, except it doubles the amount of attacks you do. So this actually does a lot more damage. Let me show you. So as you can see, it's a much longer stream of blades, like lasting about, and also you can see it's really cool, like fiery animation. Echoing Frost has the exact same properties as Flurry, in which it has extended range. And I believe it also reduces enemy movement speed by 30% and jump power by 30%. This one's more for just like flat damage. The Storm Sigil, on the other hand, it does a little bit less damage, but targets are also struck by lightning take an additional 31% electric damage. So it has kind of a similar property to the Echoing, or to the Firestorm, or Fire Flurry rather, Flame Flurry, where it takes more damage, like it takes damage twice. It's a little bit more complicated to explain, but like the long and short of it is it just does a lot more damage. Also, one more thing, Echoing Blades is a channeling action. In other words, when you're using the skill, you remain in place and hold on to that animation, and the animation continues. However, if you act out of that animation, the Echoing Blades will cancel, I believe. So in other words, like you can place them in multiple areas, but they will end prematurely. Like if I were to place it naturally, it lasts for about 1 second or so. If I were to place it and then move right after, it disappears much faster. So I don't know now whether or not, like, I think the way to perpetuate it is just to hold down the ski, or the skill key. I just combine skill key and key. And that's how you would like perpetuate your damage, so kind of like this. There you go. Okay, next ability is Impact. Impact is affected once again by your elements. Now, Flame Impact will just smash an area onto the ground. Now, for Flame Impact, it leaves this volcanic eruption area right here that just pulsates more damage. Then Frost Impact leaves in... No, it doesn't do anything actually, but instead it just does more. It does actually a lot more... Whoa, what did I just do? It does a lot more damage. So if we were to look at Flame Impact, doesn't do too much, 291 and then like 254 pulsating here and there. So 254 is not bad either. But Frost Sigil is just straight up burst. It does 780 and then another 289, so over 1,000 damage, which is really cool. So let me show you the Flame Impact real quick. I gotta put it in an area where I can hit all three. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Okay, now I'm gonna switch to Frost. And just does a lot of damage, almost 100k there. That was really cool. Okay, now as for Storm Impact, it does, I think, kind of the same thing, right? Storm and Flame Sigil have very similar properties to each other, which is why I feel like Storm is just obnoxiously better. So this is what it looks like. So it's like a shorter version of Flame Sigil, in which it does the exact same impact on the ground, but it has a whole bunch of like random lightning strikes that happen in a much like quicker succession. There it is. So I don't understand why Flame and Frost, anyway, Flame and Storm are just completely the same. You can like expect to have similar properties. Rune Focus is a passive component that is more of a utility thing. When you have Flame Sigil active, you get more maximum HP and more fire damage. When you have Frost Sigil active, your defense goes up and your ice damage goes up as well. When you have Storm Sigil active, your evasion and movement speed increase, as well as your electrical damage. You have Blade Chasm, which is a very awesome mobility skill. It's an attack that slides you forward a long distance and it explodes. Now, I wish I could show you the default, but I can't. Is there really no way I can... in MapleStory 1, you could right-click a buff to deactivate it, but anyways. This is Flame Chasm, right? Yeah, Flame Chasm. Has kind of a similar property of Impact, where it just leaves a trail of fire behind. Show you Frost Chasm. And it leaves a slowing field, I believe. Or no, it just leaves ice shards around. Okay. I rarely use Flame and Frost Sigil at all, so I actually forgot what the various elements do in terms of, well, I know what Storm Sigil does. It leaves a Blade Chasm and then it shoots lightning strikes from the sky. This has incredible vertical reach, by the way, so you can use this under targets too. Here we go. It also does quite a bit of damage. Now, let's go into the next one. Let's go Whirling Blades. So Whirling Blades is what gives Runeblader a decent amount of flexibility in terms of damage, in which it throws 3 swords. We like to call it donut. It's the donut blades. It's so weird. Basically, shoots out 3 revolving swords with various properties based on element. So for Whirling Flames, throws 3 flame blades in front of you that sets targets on fire. So let me go ahead and throw it up to go. It penetrates all enemies and it leaves them with the burning dot damage, as you can see right here. You're gonna throw it, so it has penetrating. Okay, now let's go into Frost Blades, or Whirling Frost rather. This one also has a slowing component to it, and I believe it doesn't penetrate. However, every time it collides with the target, it explodes. So let's go ahead and put it here. There you go. Not too bad. And the slow debuff right there. Now Storm is cool. Storm does not pierce, or it does not penetrate. However, it bounces next to it's like chain lightning almost. It bounces to nearest targets. Let me show you right there. There you go. It's like really, really cool. It just like chains next to the nearest target, and then that chains next to the nearest target. I believe it goes only up to 4 times. Yeah, each blade can bounce up to 4 times, so 4 enemies. And it does a lot of damage. Does eat up a good amount of spirit though. It costs about 40 spirit, but since Runebladers have really high spirit regeneration here, it's very, very nice. Okay, next, Illusory Blades. Let me go ahead and just use this temporarily. Illusory Blades is a very weird ability. It summons like these, you guys know Kaiser's Tempest Blades from MapleStory 1. I know not many people who play MapleStory 2 play MapleStory 1, but it's kind of the same principle of you summon blades that like target nearby enemies. It's really weird. I don't think it's that practical. I don't use it. Let's try it again. Yeah, see, sometimes it doesn't target it at all, which is weird. But I guess, yeah, so these are not affected by an element. They don't get imbued by an element. Blade Mastery, it increases the weapon attack of your sword. Every class has some form of mastery skill. This is the Runeblader one. Okay, now I explained these 3. Let's go into Honing Runes. Honing Runes is a very powerful party buff in which it, here, let me show you. Which you place a field on the ground. That's 3x3. That increases the critical damage of all targets in it for 3 minutes by 16% maximum. And it also increases your own crit damage by 8% passively. So 149. It's very, very good. It's pretty cool animation too. I like it. Gravity Rune. It's not affected by your element. You can tell if an ability is affected by an element if it's like got this like those 2 little sparks like circling around it, the hexagon. Gravity Rune's cool. These guys aren't affected by crowd control, of course, but the way it works is that you summon a little vacuum field in which it pulls all enemies towards the center. And it doesn't cost any spirit. It has a cooldown, but it's a little bit more damage and it helps with mobbing. So what a lot of people like to do is use Gravity Rune followed by Impact, because Impact will smash right in front of you and Gravity Rune pulls all enemies right in front of you. Warding Rune is a shield that is affected by your element. So I'll show you Warding Flame, which creates a fire shield that reduces your that increases your resistance from physical and magic attacks. At the same time, creates this ring of fire that does a really cool effect and it has a lot of damage into it. Well, not a lot of damage, but it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. Lasts a decently long time. Warding Flame Warding Rune does not also cost any spirit either. Let's go in Warding Frost. Summons a frost shield that lasts 9 seconds, increases your resistance, and it also absorbs 6% of your maximum health. Well, the numbers depend based on your level, but this provides you with a shield. Which I don't... Yeah. So this thing, I think that it just basically blocks, like, it gives you a tiny shield. I find this to be probably the most useless one because 6% is not that much, or I think it goes up to 15 or so. Now, Warding Storm, on the other hand, it causes a lightning bolt to strike nearby enemies, so it turns you into a walking conductor. Let me show you real quick. Okay, and then you just randomly shot the nearest target. So let's go ahead and move to this guy. Come on, there you go. I think in terms of overall damage, you want to go for the Warding Flame instead of Warding Storm, but like I said, Storm Sigil is the best. Not that I'm happy with it. I actually wish you can switch between each 3, like, you know, 3 different ones. Oh, maybe they'll fix that. Last skill is Elemental Potency. Just it's a buff that increases all elemental damage you deal by 20%. And you get this really cool arrow indicator below you. Alright, now for the skills, there are two builds that you go for. Either the first one is Echoing Blade and the other one is Whirling Blade. There's literally no difference. You choose either Echoing Blade or Whirling Blades. Like everything else is pretty much the same. You want to max out Elemental Potency, which is why you take Warding Rune and Gravity Rune. You want to max out Storm Sigil, and you want to max out Honing Runes. Although Honing Runes can only take you to level 8 because level 9 and above are 60 plus. And I don't know when the level cap will be removed. You want 1 point into Blade Chasm, which means that you need to have 1 point in Rune Focus, or 4 points in Rune Focus. And the only difference is just these two. You really don't make any difference after that. As for stats, you want to go for Strength. You don't need to go for Inch just because of the fact that your passive gives you 70% of your Strength turned into Intelligence, so just go only for Strength. And Runebladers, they go for... Alright, so even though Runebladers are magic swordsmen, they are physical damage dealers. So you want physical piercing, not magic piercing. You also want piercing, and you want boss damage. Alternatively, you can also opt for the elemental damage bonus that you go for. So electric damage is pretty helpful. Well, not as much as piercing or boss damage, but still, it's good to have. And yeah, I think that's it. The skills were kind of hard to go into just because there were like 3 different variations of each one, but that's how it works. Runeblader, it's a very colorful class. I like it. Very aesthetically pleasing. I find it to be one of the best animations in the game. It's just super cool. Regardless, even if you, like, I don't know how many people actually go for Fire or Frost, but even if Fire and Frost are like worse than Storm, it's just really cool seeing like the various like different abilities that you have. Like, look at this. It's just really, really satisfying to see. And overall, I wish they could add more to the class in terms of like a bigger incentive for you to switch between Fire, Ice, and Lightning, but for the time being, no, it's just only Storm. If anyone disagrees, or rather if anyone can prove that Flame Sigil and Frost Sigil have their applications, please let me know in the comment section below. That's about it though. I gotta go and make like 2 or 3 more videos, so I will get right to it. Thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you guys again in the next video. Take care.